Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today's concept is ER diagrams. So first of all, we will discuss about what is mean by ER diagrams. So ER diagram stands for entity relationship diagrams. Entity relationship diagrams. So what is the main use of this particular entity relationship diagrams is nothing but representation of tables in the diagrammatic manner. Representation of tables in the diagrammatic manner is nothing but called as ER diagrams. So what is the main use of this particular ER diagrams is nothing but the persons who are not having the idea about the tables, or who cannot understand the data by using the tables, they can easily interact with the database by using the ER diagrams. So that is the main aim of ER diagrams. So the main aim is nothing but understanding the database concepts in an easier manner. So for that purpose we are using the ER diagrams. So what are the main concepts involved in this particular ER diagrams is nothing but entity relationships, and next one is attributes. So what is mean by entity is nothing but table name. So we can consider entity is nothing but table name. So the relationships is nothing but how each table is interacting with another table. So that is nothing but the relationship. For example, we can take the college data college database. In that one we will have the faculty table and student table. So there may be some interaction, maybe the subject or department related things can be have the similarities, and we can attach them. So that is nothing but relationship, whether there are any relationships or not. So that we will discuss in the relationships. And next one, attributes is nothing but column names. So these are also nothing but called as what properties. Properties properties of tables. Okay, so those are nothing but called as what attributes. So in that today's class we will discuss about what are the different types of entities and different types of relationships in the DBMS. So first of all we will see entity. Entity. So how many types of entities are there? There are two types of entities. What are those is nothing but weak entity, next one strong entity. So weak entity is nothing but an entity that depends on another entity. Depends on another entity is nothing but called as weak entity, and that is represented by a rectangle symbol. That is represented by a rectangle symbol. Okay, and what is meant by the strong entity is nothing but that does not depends on another entity, which does not depends on another entity is nothing but called as what strong entity. Sorry, here the weak entity is represented by double lined rectangle. Sorry for that one. So weak entity is represented by double line rectangle and a strong entity is represented by single line rectangle. Okay, so which depends on another entity is nothing but called as what? Weak entity, and which does not depends on another entity is nothing but called as what? Strong entity. For example, if you are taking one table, for the entire data of the table, if it depends on another one means, so that is nothing but called as what? Weak entity. For example, if you want to get the information of some student which is not there in this table, so we have to approach the another table, so that type of process is nothing but called as weak entity. And when coming to the strong entity, in this one, the entire data will be uh, possible and we can get from the single table, that is nothing but called as what? Strong entity. So how we are differentiating is nothing but we are differentiating by using the only rectangle symbol. Weak is represented by double lined rectangle and strong is represented by the single line rectangle. Okay, so next we will see the different types of relationships. So what are the different types of relationships is one to one, one to many, many to one, many to. So first of all, we will see one to one relationship. So here we can make the relationship by, so one to one means, so here we have to represent here one, and here also we have to represent one. So that is nothing but one row from the first table, we are getting one row from the second table. So one row from the first table will interact with the one row from the second table. That is one to one relationship. Next, one to many is nothing but, so this is nothing but one m. So that is nothing but one row from the first table interacting with more than one rows from the second table. That is nothing but one to many. Okay. So the next one is many to one. Many to one is nothing but here many to one, many to one. So more than one rows from the first table interacting only one row from the second table. That is nothing but many to one relationship. And the last type of relationship is nothing but many to many relationship. That is nothing but, so we will represent here two tables. So in this one, many to many, many to many. So that is nothing but here these are nothing but the type of relationships. So for example, only one row interacting with only one row from the second table. So that is nothing but one to one. One row from the first table interacting with more than one row means that is one to many. And many rows from the first table interacting with one row is nothing but many to one. And many rows from the first table interacting more than one rows from the second table is nothing but many to many. So these are nothing but the types of entity and types of relationships. So in the next class, we will discuss about what are the different types of attributes that we are having in the ER diagrams. Thank you.